All right, yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. I have a very, very special guest today for you guys. My homeboy, we've been cool for a good minute now, man. He has a very interesting story, a very interesting path to get to where he is now. Um, and before we get into it, ladies, he is off the market. I just gotta let you guys know now. He took himself off the market. He is not available anymore. But very happy for him, man. He's been balling in life, man. So I had to bring him in to talk about his journey, man. And without further ado, welcome in my homie Larry Legend. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you on, man. It's
Oh,
been a
for
minute.
sure. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. Grateful to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. So um let's go ahead and talk about where you are now. Like you have a very interesting position that you're into right now.
So I'm currently one of the assistant strength and conditioning coaches for the Phoenix Suns. So I live out here in Arizona, and I work with the players out here.
So what's that been like, man, as far as like your journey to get there and now to finally be at this point? What's that feel like to finally be here?
Um Man, it feels good. Like I mean it's the NBA, like
Yeah.
this is probably the highest level of basketball that you can get to. So, I'm very excited, very grateful, what I'm saying, to be in the position that I am, what I'm saying, to be able to do what I do, on a daily basis. Especially from like some of the places I've been and come from. So like, it's always a journey to get somewhere, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everybody has their journey. So, like I say, man, I'm just grateful, and just try to do everything I can, impact the players, help the players, and that type of thing.
So let's talk about that journey to get there, man. Like was strength and conditioning always like the goal for you? Or is that something that just kind of like came up for as an opportunity?
Man, so crazy. Honestly like going back. I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play football. Growing up in Alabama, I wanted to play
Mm-hmm.
sports as a kid, but I had really bad asthma, right? So
Mm.
I didn't really have that opportunity as much when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? So like I always wanted to be around basketball. I wanted to play basketball, that type of thing. So I really became a manager when I was in like middle school. Like I was on the team, but I really wasn't playing because my ass wouldn't let me. So, you know, a manager, that's what I was doing pretty much. So
Yeah.
this middle school, man. So man, but I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I love helping out. And I was always very like attentive, like and paid a lot of attention to detail. So I really
Mm-hmm.
just started to like learn the game from a different perspective. So did that, went on to high school, and then high school I ended up going back to coach middle school basketball. So I was coaching middle school girls basketball at like 16, 17 years old. And like as far as like coaching, like that was great for my development because one, I'm not much older, what I'm saying, than the athletes I'm coaching. So I had to be like very firm in everything I said, but also I had to be able to like teach. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because it's one thing to understand something, it's another thing to be able to teach it, and break it
Yeah.
down where your athletes or whoever you're trying to, send a message to, for them to be able to like understand it, interpret it, and go out on the court or field and execute it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was big for my growth. Did that for a few years, went to college, right? Became the head manager for UAB men's basketball. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was a great, ride for me. I mean, I love UAB. We won 2 conference championships while I was there. So that was very exciting, but also like another big part in my growth and development. I was able to meet people. I was able to learn things. And the biggest thing is like wherever I've been, I've always been a sponge. Like
Mm-hmm.
like don't talk too much. Just kind of let your work do the talking for you.
Yeah.
Because excuse me, a lot of times people may not say anything, but people are always watching, people are always looking, and they remember things. They remember how you carry yourself, they remember that time you helped them, that type of thing. So at any rate, worked with UAB men's basketball for a few years. Still want to be a basketball coach. So like, my mind's dead set on like, I'm gonna become a GA next, I'm gonna become a basketball coach. So that was like my dream job, So working with UAB men's basketball for like, I want to say like 3 years, and then I kind of realized, man, I don't want to recruit. Like I saw what coaches had to do to recruit and like go on the road and all these AAU tournaments, and I was like, I don't want to do that. So it was like, all right, Larry, all right, you love basketball, so how you gonna stay around the game? So,
Mhm.
I've always been in the weight room. I've always, exercised, but strength and conditioning was like my way to stay around the game. So I began to do that, began to learn, because that's like a total different realm outside of like basketball. Like that's strength and conditioning, a whole another world.
Yeah.
So I began to learn things, interning, talking to mentors and just pretty much soaking as much as I could up, and just building my craft. So, went from an intern to a GA. So I went to a D2 school. I was a GA for a year. Graduated at that school called Tusculum. It's a D2 school in Tennessee. So graduated after a year, and then I became an assistant there. And so that was another great experience because, man, I worked with so many sports. Like every sports you could think of, I work with. Like small schools, so it's not a lot of funding. And
Mhm.
they had at least 22 sports. I think that's how many it was when I was there. So like, I mean, everything from, the normal, basketballs, football, stuff like that, but also like golf, lacrosse, some tennis, track and field, you name it. And this is like men's and women's.
Mm.
So it was a great experience, and I mean, I still talk to some of those athletes today, because especially as a young coach, like it means a lot when you first starting out, and you got athletes, and it's just like, man, y'all, I'm helping mold and shape y'all, but y'all are also helping mold and shape me at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was huge. Stayed there for a little bit, and then I ended up going to Grambling State, which is a D1 program in Louisiana. So there, like my primary was men's basketball and volleyball, but I was also an assistant for football. And I
Mm.
helped a little bit with softball and baseball and track. I kind of helped a little bit wherever I was needed, but that was also a great experience. Really just getting to, like I say, perfect my craft, learn things, teach things. Like developing. And then I was there for a year, and then I came on out to Phoenix. I got the opportunity, to come out here. Like I say, that I'm grateful for. So like I say, that journey was amazing because it's like I've seen all levels,
Mhm.
like literally every resource you need to like no resources at all. So I think that's important because I think sometimes people just, assume that like all these teams have, this type of, implements or like resources at their disposal, and a
Yeah.
lot of times, they don't. Some teams eating this great meal for pregame. Some teams may be eating a ham sandwich. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's expected for both of those athletes to go out and perform to the best of their ability. So that's really my journey. To where I am now.
Yeah.
In a little nutshell.
Man, can you talk about what it was like to deal with pretty much every sport? Like 22, like what was that
Man,
like, man? Because I know going in, you primarily basketball, and like you said, you grew up playing football, so you're familiar with that. But then you got to deal with like just even doing men's basketball, women's basketball is a challenge in itself, but it's not too crazy of left field. To do basketball, football, and then go way out with like tennis and like individual sports, like that's totally different. So what was that like, man? What was that whole experience?
man, at first it was a little challenging, but I looked at it as an opportunity.
Mm.
I looked at it as, hey, the more stuff I can learn about more sports, the more versatile I become. You know what I'm saying? The more people I can train, in the future. So
Yeah, yeah,
at the end of the day, a strength and conditioning coach, we're just trying to improve athletic performance.
mm,
Now there are ways that you can, make things more specific to certain sports, of course,
mm,
like, details. But at the end of the day, I just want to make you a better athlete,
yeah,
So like I say, it was great working with those sports. Also just seeing like the different cultures in different sports. Football has its own culture, basketball has its own culture, lacrosse has its own culture, so just being able to see that and watch these athletes grow, and learn and, win and lose and, everything that just comes with sports. Like that
yeah,
was just, an amazing opportunity, and I'm always thankful for like everywhere I've been, even though, people may look at it and be like, man, you was at that school? Like, man, that was rough. But, at the end of the day, like, everything has a reason, everything has purpose, you know.
mm,
Sometimes you may not always see it,
yeah,
but sometimes even when you think you're in a bad situation, just kind of, step to the side and see, can you see the light, in the dark tunnel, or see
yeah.
what lesson, what I'm saying, you can learn from your current situation.
Mm. So, what did you learn about yourself through that process? And what were the few things or a few of the things that you kind of like took from that experience that you can apply to what you're doing now or bring back to basketball?
Man, honestly, not so much about basketball, but I'll say just like being resilient.
Hmm.
Like you're gonna have some wins, you're gonna have some losses, and not necessarily like in the win and loss column of a game,
Yeah,
but just like as you develop and as you're trying to, constantly grow, it's just gonna be some losses in in the battles,
yeah,
So, no matter what happens, like, don't get too high, don't get too low, you know, stay even keeled and, and just try to continue to get better every day,
hmm,
because I mean, some people say if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. There is
yeah, yeah,
no I'm just cooling right here, It's either
yeah,
you getting better, you getting worse. So I would say just being resilient, you know what I mean, and just keeping your foot on the gas, like don't let up, you know.
mm,
It's not a race, but it is a race. There's people behind you,
yeah,
right? There's people always
yeah,
in front of you, right? All
yep,
right, don't let up.
yeah.
If you want to get to where they going, you know what I'm saying, you got to keep driving,
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's something that I realize it's not about the big things sometimes that separate people. It's really like a lot of the little things that just add up over time.
for
So,
sure, for
like you
sure,
said about you being resilient in that situation, that was a make or break thing for your whole career because now that opportunity led to so many more things for you to where the situation that you're in now.
for
Well, some
sure.
people would have been like, I ain't signing up for this, man. I'm trying to like that probably would have been me. I'd be like, bro, I'm just trying to work with basketball, man. I'm here to do basketball and
Hmm.
that's it. Like anything else, I don't care about, bro. But you were just like, I take it as a challenge.
Yeah.
So, I probably one of the folks to be like, nah, bro, keep me over here on the basketball court.
Nah, I feel that. I feel that. But yeah,
Yeah, I
man,
respect that, man. Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
So yeah, so talk to me about that time at UAB, man, because like you said, you're from here, well,
Uh
from
huh.
Birmingham. So like, what was that time at UAB, especially like you said, going to the two conference championships and winning that, man? What was that like? Especially when we went to the tournament and everything. So what was that like?
Man, so I mean, I say honestly, like my first year there, we were okay. Kind of end up losing. I want to say the first round, right?
Mhm.
And then it was the 2015 year, right? We were, I mean, it was crazy because beginning of the season, like we're losing. You play some of those tough games against some of those bigger schools at the beginning of the season. So I want to say going into conference, we were like 4-9.
Mm.
We had got smacked by North Carolina, in December on national television on ESPN, lost by like 40,
Yeah.
so but I remember going in the conference tournament. and it's like, all right, it's a new slate. Like we're gonna get it together. You know what I mean? So it was good to see like guys, coaches, everybody kind of pull together, and give a good run for it in conference. So
Mm.
I mean, we didn't just kill everybody in conference. Like, we had a decent record. But one thing about college sports, when that conference tournament start, like if you in there, you got opportunity.
Yep.
So it's win or go home.
Mm.
So we had some favorable matchups. Coaches put together great game plans, and we had some great players. And it
Yeah.
worked out for us. We were able to cut the nets down in Legacy Arena in Birmingham, so that was
Yep.
huge. It's
Yeah.
one thing to win a championship. Is another thing to win a championship in your city.
Yep.
It's a great feeling. So um, that was probably one of the most memorable, one of the best things that happened when I was there.
Yeah.
But I say the biggest thing about it is like it taught me to like really appreciate winning.
Mm.
Because next year we did good. We won a regular season title. And then like after that we struggled a little bit, up
Mm.
until I mean really recently. They won, I think, yeah, UAB won the conference championship this year.
Yep.
So shout out to UAB, back on
Yep.
top of
Yep.
Conference USA. But like since then, we haven't won anything. So like appreciate winning. Um, because just because you work hard, it doesn't mean you're gonna win. You know,
Mm.
just because you go to practice every day, there's other people going to practice every day. Just because you put in the extra work outside, of practice or whatever, like it doesn't guarantee you to win a game, to win a championship. It guarantees you nothing.
Yeah.
It does guarantee you opportunity,
Yeah. Yeah.
the opportunity to compete, and display your talents and play with your team. But like nothing's guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Some people win a high school state championship, they never win anything else in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Or a middle school championship and never win anything else. So like while you're winning, man, like be grateful, be appreciative of it, like cherish the moment,
Yeah.
like really do that because it's tough to win.
Yeah.
And
It
as
is.
and as you elevate and move on to each level, it gets harder and harder and harder, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, bro, because I was thinking one day how, especially, I can only speak from basketball because that's what I'm primarily around. But like, we
Uh-huh.
had this thing, like you talk about hoop culture. Other sports had this too, but I can speak about hoop. But like grind is overrated, bro. Like people talk, you got to grind, you got to work hard. So that's true, but I feel like that's like the basement level. Like that's what gets you in the door. Like that's the bottom level of what it takes to be good at basketball. Like that's just like the entry level thing. And like you said, it only gets you opportunity, but there's other things that you have to build on besides just being a hard worker. Because like you said, everybody works hard. Everybody goes to practice. So at this point, everybody has a trainer. Like it's not
Yeah.
that many things that you're doing to separate yourself. So like besides being a hard worker, what are you doing to separate yourself? So like
Yeah.
um, I'm glad you said that, bro. But what are some of the things that you've seen that, because you like you said you've been at different levels. So what are some of the things that you've seen that separate the goods from the greats and from level to level? Like what are you seeing as the separators?
Man, I'll say this. Some of the best players, not only do they work hard, you know what I'm saying, but they have the talent, and like especially as you elevate to, the next level of this sport of football, basketball, whatever, like you obviously need the talent to play the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also I'll say like learn the fundamentals. I
Mm.
think that's one thing that kids today like don't focus on is like the fundamentals. All right, can I make a left hand layup with my left hand? Can I make a right hand layup? Can I consistently make free throws? You know, can I play defense and not just out there, hacking? Like, can I slide my feet? Do I want to stay in front of the offensive man as a defender? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
having pride, you know what I'm saying, on defense, wanting to defend, wanting to be in the right spots on defense, as far as like helping your teammates, taking a charge, like those things, those small things, right? But at the same time, they build up. You know what I'm saying? They add up. So, and also you see a lot of kids, like kids now just seem like they're so athletic, right? But
Yeah.
they can't make a left hand layup. They can dunk it, they can't lay it in. You know what I mean? So, like fundamentals will take you far. You know,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
especially as you get older, like the athleticism, it starts to level out. You stop being the most athletic person in the gym. You're like, oh, I can jump. Yeah, he can jump too. All right. So like you have to find different skills, different strategies to be successful.
Mm.
So
So, as a strength and conditioning coach, man,
mhm.
what are like how important is that, especially in today's game? Because with basketball players, I think we still gonna have that stigma of I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to mess with my jump shot. I don't like lifting weights because whatever. I think we still have that. I think it's died down a lot more because of players like LeBron and stuff. But I think
Mhm.
there's still some stuff that going on. But what are some of the things that you see still going around that's kind of like a issue or a thing that's kind of like over talked about or not talked about enough when it comes to strength and conditioning?
I mean, like you said, in basketball culture, like you always gonna have those guys that just don't want to lift,
Yeah.
and part of it is because they just don't have a huge lifting background. Like they've never just lifted. So, by the time they get to college or pros or whatever, they just like, I don't want to do this, and they also, they've always been the best kid growing up. So they really don't understand like the importance of it because they've been
Yeah.
successful, without doing it or minimally doing it,
Mm.
but like from a coach's perspective, man, it's huge. Not only just like improving your performance, but also from like an injury standpoint. you know
Yeah.
Now there's nothing we can do, and I can say, hey, I'm gonna prevent you from getting hurt. Like
Yeah.
injuries happen, like they're part of the game. But you can make the body more resilient, to injuries. So like that's probably one of the biggest things, man. Is just, what I'm saying, making the body more resilient, to injuries, and just being able to like withstand the demands of your sport. You know, like,
Yeah.
I mean, strong things have the tendency to not break. So
Hmm.
like
I
you
like
want
that.
to be strong on the court. You want to be strong on the field, or whatever it is that you do. Like, strength is always a positive thing. You know.
Yeah. Can you answer what is basketball strong? Because we've kind of got into a place where everybody feels like they gotta look like LeBron. I gotta be, the Hulk on the court. But like there's a difference between like just being strong and basketball strong. So like in your opinion, what is basketball strong and what makes sense as far as weightlifting for basketball?
Let me see. I think a good way to say this. Basketball is strong. So I mean, obviously, you wanna lift, right, and you want to
Mm.
become stronger. But at the same time, like you don't want to sacrifice movement ability, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So you don't want to become like a stiff box, because like a stiff box would be good at basketball.
Hmm.
And how you gonna cross somebody over, and you move like this. So like that's the biggest thing I would say. Like, don't sacrifice movement ability to get just super strong, right?
Mm.
Like you can gain strength without becoming like stiff.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, even watching basketball, like the best athletes aren't always necessarily the strongest.
Yep.
So like it's good to be strong. Like you want to be able to defend, right? You want to be able
Mhm.
to take contact and finish, right? But you don't have to. squat 455 or bench press 315 to accomplish those things, you
Yeah.
know. Now, if you can, hey, great. I'm not gonna tell you don't be strong, great, but at the same time, like, don't become a box.
Yeah.
Trying to chase something that probably won't help you improve your performance on the court.
Mm. So how would you kind of balance that, and how do you make sure that you're not overdoing it or doing too much to where it's taken away from your game?
Man, say honestly, especially when you talk about like middle school, high school, like, get strong, right?
Mm.
And the reason I say that is because, like, you're a child. I mean, all the way up until you probably get like 19 to 20, you're a child. Your body is like developing, it's growing, right? So, I mean, honestly, like, your body's resilient to injury for pretty much, like, kids can do a lot of things that adults can't, and
Yeah.
they're fine. Like, it doesn't affect them like that. So, in those early stages, I say get strong.
Mm.
Like, moderately heavy to heavy, um, but also like run, sprint, like jump, like do things that are fast, like move fast. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I would say that's the best way to balance it. Like, I would encourage running, jumping, sprinting, playing other sports. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be so, I'm only gonna play basketball and you're like 8 years old. Like, no, play multiple sports, right? Because
Yeah.
your body develops differently with different sports because you use different muscles. You
Yeah.
know, so those things, because a lot of times the best athletes also play multiple sports.
Yeah.
Especially growing up. Now, they may have stuck to one when they got later into high school or college, but for the most part, they may have played basketball, baseball, football, or basketball, volleyball, softball. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and those things help a lot. You know.
Yeah. Talk about that, man, because I feel like that's a growing thing where people trying to specialize at like 8 year old or 12 years old, and it's just like I know too many people that play college ball and talking to people that's playing pro right now overseas and stuff, and they just like I played football growing up. Like you said, I didn't stop playing other sports until high school. So like, please explain a little bit more of that, man. What is the early specialization doing, and why is that um, such a bad idea?
To be honest, I would say the early specialization is just depriving uh, kids of developing. Like, I mean, that's the basics of what I think it does, right? So, honestly, like, there's no need to early specialize, and I'm not gonna blame parents because parents just don't know any better. Like, they're trying to do what they think is best for their child, but
Yeah.
like, they don't know that playing other sports, will help them. Some parents may be worried about, we want him to play basketball, but if he gets hurt playing football, he won't be able to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? And, like,
Yep.
with any injuries, is always a chance to get injured. Like, that's like a risk that you take, when you step on the field or a court. However, however, like, allowing your child to play multiple sports will only benefit them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and also I think it builds like real athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
Because not I'm not just building an athlete. I mean, I'm not just building a basketball player. I'm building an athlete.
Yeah.
Because an athlete can play multiple sports. Basketball player plays basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you want to be an athlete. You know, especially up until you get to like college. Like, yeah, once you start getting older, okay, we can focus like maybe on, like, your craft. Like, all right, let's be a great basketball player. But in those early years, man, really focus on just developing. Like, there's no reason a 12-year-old should be like worried about only playing basketball. You know what I mean? Like, you so young, man. You might not even like basketball by the time you turn 18.
Yeah.
And I also see that, like, kids who their parents had them playing one sport their whole life. By the time it's college age, like they hate it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it like kids are good enough to play at the college level. Um, they got scholarships, but they don't love the game anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's weird.
you don't want to take the love of it from your child, man. Like,
Mm.
let them pick sports, let them decide what they want to do,
So how, if you could like design a blueprint for how to like get a kid to groom to play pro, especially in basketball, because like the kids nowadays, bro, their skill level is ridiculous, man. Like they pulling out NBA moves and they pulling out some NBA footwork and handles, and they ain't even touched middle school ball yet. I'm like, bro, what are we doing here, man? We talked about the dudes now, they super athletic and they jump through the gym, and like you said, they can't do a left hand layup, but they athleticism out the roof. So how would you kind of like design a healthier way to like program to get there, but still balancing the basketball skill aspect with the overall health and development? So how would you kind of balance that for the parent who was kind of concerned about that?
So I would focus on both, man. Starting with playing multiple sports, but also making sure, as far as like the lifting aspect, my child like lifts. So, and it doesn't have to be like super heavy. Like I think that's where like people always get kind of like a misconception. Like they associate lifting weights with everything being super heavy, and that's not what it has to be. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's okay to like lift heavy, but every day you go in the gym, you don't have to pick up the heaviest dumbbell and do squats,
Yeah.
so but I'll say like say run, jumping, sprinting, throwing things,
Mm-hmm.
like all these things that make great movers, great athletes, and then combining it, with the basketball aspect. Like, yeah, you can have a skills trainer, like that's fine. Or as a parent, if I want to do it, like, yeah, we can go to the gym, we can work out, we can work on these certain moves, these certain things. It's not that I want to neglect that side,
Yeah.
but I think you just got to have balance with both, you know. And the last thing is like nutritionally, man, try to get your kids good meals, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I know parents are busy, and I know it costs more to eat healthier, but like you got to think of your child as like a Corvette, right? This a high performance athlete, right?
Yeah.
All right, you put money into everything else. You put money into the skills training. You put money into like a strengthening coach or a personal trainer. If that's what you got them doing. You put money into the program or team that they play for. All right, but you feed them, $2.99 chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Like, that's the equivalent of putting 87 gas in a Porsche. Like it's it's not not a recipe for success. And I'm not bad mouthing any parents who feed their kids McDonald's. Hey, as a parent, you feed your child what you want. However, we know that healthier food choices, have a direct impact on how we feel, how our
Yeah.
body operates, how we operate on the field. So I think that's just important. That's just as important as anything else, like good nutrition.
Yeah.
Drinking water. Staying hydrated. All these things are vital to having a complete athlete and just a healthy individual overall.
Yeah. So what are some things, almost like some low hanging fruit or some basics that players and parents can know about nutrition or even strength and conditioning? Like, what is like some basic stuff? Like, nothing too fancy. You ain't got to be like Publix and Whole Foods on a regular basis, but like some easy, simple stuff that players and parents can know about what they should be doing.
So when it comes to like fruits, vegetables, eat all the colors.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like don't just only eat broccoli or like only eat cauliflower. Like eat carrots. Eat spinach, eat beans. When it comes to fruits, like some I've heard, I just like pineapples. Okay, that's good. I like pineapples too. But eat oranges, eat grapes. Eat blueberries. Like because all these fruits have different nutrients.
Mhm.
So when you only eat one thing, you limit yourself. You know what I'm saying? Especially nutritionally. So that's the biggest thing I would say. It's like have a balanced diet. You know, like I don't think you should, you know, eat like tons and tons of meat, right? But I also don't think you should just be a vegan either. I don't think you should eat no meat. Like just have balance with everything. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's shit. I'm big on that in life. Is just really finding a balance with stuff. We kind of talked about that before we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Is just finding that balance of whatever you're doing because it's always people going way left on one side to the extreme, people going way right to the other extreme. But there's somewhere in the
100%.
middle. There's somewhere in the middle that it seems like more of the right answer, the right direction to go to. So yeah, I think that's really key because like you said, some people try to go vegan and go, I'm gonna just stay vegan and just do this. Like, that's not the best thing for an athlete. That's
Yeah.
can you do that? Sure, but is that the best thing for you? And
Yeah.
you got some people, like you said, just go super heavy with pork and try to be, I'm gonna just eat meat and bacon for a living. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Like, you need some vegetables in there somewhere, man.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, man. So but yeah, anything else that you want to throw in there as far as like low hanging fruit or simple things that players and parents need to grab onto?
Uh, Sleep, man.
Ooh.
Put the Fortnite down. Put the phone down. Get some sleep. You know. Try to drink water. like, like those things seem so small. They seem like cliche. Like every coach is like, drink your water. You know, or get rest at night. But man, like sleep is huge. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to performance and just um what we know now from science just based on like how the brain operates when you're tired or like it's even studies out there that correlate not getting sleep to like higher injury risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or higher chance of injury. So like, man, you want to be as healthy, you want to be a healthy athlete, you want to be as healthy as possible, like eat right, exercise, sleep good. Like especially for a child, like when you're young, you know what I'm saying? You got minimal worries, you're not paying bills. Like, man, get you some good sleep. No pressure at night, man. Get you some good sleep.
Yeah,
Big. So
yeah. That's it's funny too, cause like I can remember me being as a kid, I'd have been like, really? That's all you got? Sleep,
yeah,
eat better, like really drink water. That's what you got. But now that I'm older and like I study this and I understand, it's like, yes, that's what it takes. Like
that's what it
that's
takes.
really about 75% of the work, really. That's a bulk of what you need to do. If you can get that 75% right, the last 25% really won't matter as much, especially as a youth athlete, man, because
For sure.
it's
And
just
like, I
it's so
mean,
many kids not doing it.
and at this age, man, you building habits for the future.
Yeah.
Like if you eat zero vegetables now, I don't think you're gonna start 20, you're gonna turn 22 and just start eating vegetables. Like it don't work like that. Like I mean, we're creatures of habit. So like your
Yeah.
body's just gonna be like, oh, we eat vegetables now. Like what? You probably not even gonna want vegetables. You ain't ate them your whole life. Like so,
Exactly.
like, but those things, man, are huge. Are
Yeah.
huge. Not just to being a great athlete, but like just being healthy in general. Like
Yeah.
living living a long life. Like that. Those are huge.
Yeah, man. So for you to now have been at pretty much every level there is of basketball and strength and conditioning, where do you see that genre, not genre, but like that genre or area going now? Because um, you're at the highest level, so like you working with some great people and some great minds. So like, where do you see that direction? Where do you see that area, like the direction that it's going? Like, what's next in your opinion?
Man, it's a really hard question to answer, but I will say that I think every year the the importance of strength and conditioning is understood a little bit more. You know,
Mm,
not from a sports standpoint, from a parent standpoint, from the fans, like everybody. I think each year people understand a little bit more about it, and it's like, oh, this is pretty, important, to the game. So I think the field will continue to grow. I think it will continue to be like integrated with science and integrated with like player development. So like now you see a lot of strength coaches / skill trainers, right? And they kind of do both.
Yeah.
I think you'll see that more and more in the future.
Yeah.
And I think it's special. A special place, to be able to be a skills trainer, right, and a strength and conditioning coach, because everybody can't be a skills trainer.
Mm-hmm.
For one, you got to be able to do what you're teaching. That's number one. So, I think it's a very special niche of those people who can, kind of do both,
Yeah.
and that are really like impacting athletes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because that's kind of what I'm at right now, and that's a challenge to kind of balance that, man. Because
Mm-hmm.
um, resources play a big role in that, and
100%.
it's really come down to like the quality of information that you have as a trainer to
Mm-hmm.
give to the players, because we still have some OG coaches that just like we gonna squat, bench, heavy, uh, put as much muscle on as possible, and all this stuff, and it's like, is that really the best thing to do? So you might have some people who are doing it, but like you
Mm-hmm.
said, going back to science based and really making sure that it's geared towards performance and not just aesthetics or the looks of it.
Yeah,
So really
for
trying to
sure.
balance that is the real key to it, and figuring out what makes sense for the athlete and
For sure.
for what you're trying to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But so yeah, what is something that you see that we kind of talked about this a lot, but what's something that you see that from each area, like where you see that the parents might not fully understand, they're kind of getting wrong, and that coaches are still kind of not fully getting about strength and conditioning?
Um, I would say from a parent and coach's perspective, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
they can both take this lesson. Simple and basic is better, right?
Yeah.
I think we live in a social media age. TikTok, right? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all these social media outlets. And I think that, people see all these crazy exercises, bouncing on one foot, throwing a mid ball, or pressing a dumbbell, or all this crazy stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, and sometimes it's a time and place for everything, right? So I'm not, gonna knock the exercise. Sometimes it's a time and place for everything. But for the most part, like as a young athlete, man, the basic works. The basics work. Like even as an older athlete, man, the basics work,
Yeah.
Whether I'm, pressing, squatting, hinging, sprinting, like jumping, like those things will always be like the baseline of athleticism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't change them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't change them. So just throwing things, like just doing those basics, man, you will continue to develop, and as things get easy, yeah, it's ways to add a challenge,
Mm-hmm.
make it a little bit harder so that you continue to develop or grow, right? But
Yeah.
as a young athlete, remember this too. Um, if something puts your health at risk, right, while doing it, right? So if it's like, dang, I could really fall off this ball I'm trying to balance on and turn my ankle, or drop this dumbbell on my head while I'm balancing, right? Does that reward outweigh the risk?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. You know.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
those are always things to keep in mind as a player and a parent and a coach. Like, does the
Yeah.
risk outweigh the reward, right? And then like the basics work, man. Never forget that.
Yeah. I think one thing too that I realized about it is that most of the people that we're looking at on social media to kind of steal from is
Hmm.
like the greatest athletes in the world is the pro players. And like like kind of like you what you were saying, they've mastered the fundamentals and the basics over and over and over again.
Yep.
And as a trainer, we kind of play this game back and forth of like, you want to have the stuff for attention that looks cool and looks good and gets the likes and stuff, but that's really a small percentage of the actual training and workouts that you do. The
Mm-hmm.
basics, fundamental stuff is really like the meat and potatoes of what you do. And so, with you being at the highest level, what are some of the things that they're doing that kind of gets misunderstood sometimes? Like, you think this is what the life is like over here as the at the pro level, but it's not really. It's kind of different, really, behind the curtain.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I would say, like at the pro level, like I mean, guys are professionals. Like this is what they're paid to do, So, like these guys lift. Like whether you see them lifting or not, they probably lift. They understand the importance of taking care of their bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, and just being pros, like coming in, working out, because it gets to a point where like nobody can make you, right? You may have team practice, but like coming in on your own, putting the work in, like working out, all right, making sure you get a balanced diet, eating things and sleeping in those small things to like take care of your body, like they add up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like that's why you see some people who play, pro for maybe 19 to 25, and then you see some people last until their 30s, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you have like the older you get, you have to take more and more care of your body, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an automobile, bro. You got
Yeah, yeah.
you putting all these miles on it, like things start to break, so things start
Mm-hmm.
to happen. So you gotta take care, what I'm saying, of your high performance vehicle. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to, you have to.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Um, but what has this experience been like to be at the pros? Because we kind of talk about it a little bit, but like it's still kind of like just wild, bro. Like to be like we came up together a little bit, like to see like from high school to college to like pros. Like what is that
Yeah.
like, bro? Because it's just wild
Man,
to think about, man.
it's great, man. Like I love Phoenix, you know what I'm saying? I love the people I work with, love the players and that type of thing. But like from an overall experience, man, I'll say the coolest thing this past season is I was able to be a part of a team that broke a franchise record.
Mm,
I think we won 64 games last year. Like, I mean, that's hard to do, you
mm-hmm.
know. Um, so that was huge, just being a part of that, because who knows, when that record will be broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't know. I think the last time the last record was like 92, 93, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like,
Yeah.
that's before I was born, So like cherish those moments, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like each game, and it's a lot of games, right? But like, always making sure you just like giving it your all, giving it
Yeah.
everything you got, you know,
Yeah.
because I mean nothing's guaranteed and nothing's promised, right? So
Yep.
like every day, man, give it everything you got, We tell the athletes, or the when you're growing up, they be like, leave it all on the field, right? Leave it all on the court, right? But as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
like you gotta have that same energy, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving it all out there. I'm giving y'all everything I got. So I said
Yeah.
that's probably like the biggest thing, man. I just take it one day at a time, be grateful, what I'm saying? And, continue to work hard, continue to get better. Like it's always room for improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. Um, so is this kind of like I don't want to say like your victory lap, but it's kind of like where you see yourself staying at? Like, do you want to stay at the NBA level, or do you see yourself like becoming the head strength and conditioning coach? Do you want to get into coaching, or do you want to get into business? Like, what's the next direction for you, or like the kind of the end goal for you?
Man, I'll say right now, man, I'm enjoying, what I'm saying, coaching in the NBA. But like, man, I don't really know what's next, man. It's hard
Mm,
to tell you. Right now my main focus is like just continue to grow, like I said, develop, and I'm so locked into the task at hand, to the job right now. Like, my main thing is like, what can I do to help us win the championship? So honestly, not thinking, just too far ahead, right? But you know, in coaching, man, nothing lasts forever. That's one thing I've
Mm,
learned, right?
yeah,
Nobody's in one spot forever, so enjoying it while I'm here. I mean, who knows when this ride is over? You know what I mean? Who knows when another opportunity will present itself? So,
yeah,
man, I'm not really worried about the next step. Just being 100. Um, I'm just enjoying this day to day, and doing everything I can
yeah.
to continue to help and build, and be here.
Mm, mm. I can appreciate that, man, because like we said, we talked about this a little bit before started recording. Like, just really practicing more gratitude for the little stuff and every situation that we're in, especially the current situation, man. So
Hmm.
I can take that one to heart for me, But you said, yeah, you talked about your mentors earlier.
Hmm.
Who are some of the guys that you have learned from and you kind of learning from now that play a big role for your position that you're at now?
Man, so I'll say honestly, like I have mentors, right, that are coaches, guys who've been heads, right, before, what I'm saying, that I work with. But honestly, man, I say the biggest like influences that on my career have probably just been my parents and my grandparents.
Mm,
And the reason I say that is like not so much that they helped me build or develop into a good strength coach, but like they helped me to be a good person, right? And so like
mm,
at the end of the day, man, like no matter what you're doing, like you always want to be a good person. Like
yeah.
treat people right, treat people with respect, you know what I'm saying? Treat people with dignity, you know what I'm saying? When you go into a gym, everybody know the head coach name, right?
Mm,
But what's the man or the lady name that, what I'm saying, clean the bleachers after the game or clean
mm,
the locker rooms? Like what's their name? You feel me? So like treating people with respect, you know what I'm saying, having gratitude, being appreciative, you know what I'm saying, and just treating everybody like with a high level of respect, no matter who they are. Like nobody's above you, nobody's beneath you, you know what I'm saying,
mm,
and being humble, right?
mm.
Like all this stuff can be taken away from you easy, quick. You right?
Yep.
So you know what I'm saying? And one mindset that I've always had is like no job is too small, no job is too big, right?
Mm,
Right? Like a lot of people look at me now and they're like, oh, you an NBA strength coach. Okay, cool. But I've also like passed out water bottles and towels and wiped up sweat off the floor. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You know, I've done team laundry after games. You know what I'm saying? Like all the behind the scenes stuff, right? That nobody gonna clap for. It's just got to get done. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I always had that mindset, man. Nothing too big, nothing too small. Like any job. You know, even
Mm,
now, like if I waste some, I'm not looking for nobody to get it up. No, I waste it. It's my trash. You know.
yeah.
So just those small things, man, they really take you far in life, man. You know,
Yeah.
really take you far. Like, I mean, who cares if you good if you just this terrible person, bro? And you may make it far off your talent, man. You may. I'm not gonna say you're not, right?
Yeah.
But that being a terrible person, bro, it's gonna catch up to you at some point. You feel me?
Hmm.
And your world gonna come crashing down. Like it just is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna miss out on so many opportunities, right?
Hmm.
You may be making $20 million, right? But somebody may want to give you 100 million. But you
Hmm.
such a terrible person, right? You didn't cap yourself out. So like those things, man, just they're huge, huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember we had an episode one time. I don't remember which one it was, but we just kind of talking about how a lot of kids feel like kind of what you were saying. I can get away with a lot of crap just because I'm this player, or you kind of used to having stuff handed to you, and it's like when we get to the college level and the pro level, bro, like that stuff don't mean as much, man. Unless you like Zion level talent, LeBron level talent, whoever, it's just that kind of stuff don't mean as much, bro. Because you a dime a dozen now. Like you said
Yeah.
before, you start leveling out, bro. Because you 6'6" with a 40-inch vert. I got 20 of them right here in my back pocket, bro. So like, what's next? So I'd rather have the one with the Zion level humility, that height and level of humility, along with the skill and talent. So I just feel like some players kind of get that messed up just because I'm here, I'm this type of player, I'm a 5-star, 4-star, whatever. And you get to a point where that junk don't matter no more, man. Like
Yeah.
it's a different ball game, bro. So I'm glad you said that, man, because I think some players don't always keep that mindset in front of them.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
So yeah, man. I think that's about it for the
Okay.
most part, man.
Yeah.
I got
Appreciate
two.
it.
I got hold on, bro. Hold on, bro.
Okay. Okay. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. I
Good.
got two last questions, man, that I
Okay.
try to get to every guest, man. So
For
you kind
sure.
of tapped on this a little bit earlier, man, but I love to give people their flowers. That's something that I'm big on, man, because people try to get them their flowers before they can't smell them, man. So who is somebody in your opinion that deserves flowers that they haven't been given yet, man? Who is somebody that's a little underrated, under the radar that you feel like, man, nobody talks about this person, this lady, this whoever. It can be a coach, a player, a trainer, whoever. Well, somebody that you've seen is just like you don't get the respect that you deserve. So here's my opportunity to give you some flowers, man. Who is that person for you?
Man. Ooh, that's tough, man. Cause let me tell you the reason why I say that's tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's cause like everybody who I come in contact with, man, I try to let them know I appreciate them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the kitchen staff at work, you know what I'm saying, or the people who clean up, like I always let them know, like, hey man, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So, like just off the top of my head, man, honestly, I would just say I would probably have to go back to my parents, man. Like I just appreciate everything, y'all instilled in me, like that was huge, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like without those morals and those other like just values that y'all put into me, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am today. Like that's just the realization of it. You know what I'm saying? And like one thing I would tell kids out here is like appreciate your parents. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they they running you to practice, they picking you up from school, they taking you to this AAU tournament, right? They feeding you, like you got them ripping running all over the state, the country sometimes, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
appreciate them. Like they don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's parents that don't take their kids anywhere. They first time going somewhere be when they go to college. That's their first trip. You know what I mean? So like, and that may be like a little OD, but like
Yeah.
that's the truth of the matter. Like appreciate your parents, man. Appreciate them.
Yeah.
Because most people are not gonna do for you the way your parents will. You know.
That's some real truth right there, brother. Like we don't fully appreciate our parents when we kids sometimes because we don't have that perspective all the time of like the sacrifice that they have, man. So
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that answer at all, bro, because that's truth. Like, shoot. But I almost forgot my last question. Uh, but what is a lesson that you've learned through this journey
Mm-hmm.
about the game of basketball, man? So it can be something that a coach gave you, or something that you just learned throughout the process, or something that learn about yourself throughout the process, something that the game has taught you, but that you apply to life overall. That's like way bigger than basketball, man. So what's something that you've learned about you or about this process?
Um, I'll say one of the biggest lessons, right? And this is one of many, right? Because being in coaching, being an athlete, you know what I'm saying, and it's always like lessons to be learned. So tons of lessons. But I say the biggest lesson is, or not the biggest, but one of like the most impactful ones is a coach told me when I was like 13. She was like, faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it always really stuck with me because, you know what I'm saying? Like growing up in the church, yeah, I prayed, but like you can't be asking for something you ain't putting in no work. That's real. Like, don't ask for the ability to go out there and score 30, right? And you go through the motions at practice. You don't want to put any extra work in. You're a bad teammate, right? So like, at the end of the day, like, put the work in, right? And then kind of let the other chips fall into place, man.
Mm. Yes, I 100% agree, bro. I could go a whole nother tangent on that one. That can go
For
another
sure.
direction for me, bro. But
For sure.
give me another one, man. I really like that one, bro. I feel like you got like 13 more in the chamber, bro. So let another one loose.
Let me see. Another one
Yeah.
is when I use to this day, and this one I just kind of created myself just from like seeing a lot of things, but like I treat every day like you could be gone tomorrow, right? So yeah, I'm an NBA strength coach today, but tomorrow I could be homeless on the street, right? And
Mm.
that may be like a little bit over exaggeration, you know what I'm saying? However, like the main point of it is like make every day count,
Yeah.
So like that's probably the biggest thing, man. Make every day count. Like don't just be going through the motions. Like don't get complacent. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like complacency is a bad thing. It's a dangerous thing.
Mm.
It's a very dangerous thing, especially as an athlete. Right? You get complacent, you can go from there that number one spot real quick to number 50, right? Number 100, right? So
Mm.
like never get complacent, whether you playing sports or like just in life. You know what I'm saying? Like always kind of push yourself for more, and always understand like tomorrow ain't guaranteed, this job not guaranteed, you know, the opportunity to dribble that ball tomorrow, in a high school state championship, like it's not guaranteed. You feel me? So
Mm.
like just don't take it for granted. Treat every day like it can be over.
Yes, man. That's a pretty powerful way to end the episode, man. So anything else you want to promote or tell the people about, anything else you got up your sleeve or anything else you got?
Man, the main thing I would tell the people, man, is keep working, right? Keep working, and like not to sound cliche, but like in all facets, you know what I'm saying, of your life, especially like young athletes, keep working on the court, keep working in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? Just all facets. Like you wanna take it to the next level. Do as well as you can. Do as much as you can. Because at the end of the day, if I just do a little bit every day, by the time I'm 18, I've done a lot. And by the time I'm 25, I've done a lot more.
Yeah.
Right. So just building those habits, man, and being detailed in everything you do, you know what I'm saying, and having purpose. Like
Yeah.
don't just blindly do anything. You right. I always think about how can this affect me, whether positively or negatively, right? Everything always gonna have consequences. So like always keep that in mind.
Yeah, man. It's a good way to end the episode, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah, I
having me,
appreciate you.
man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. It means a lot, man. Like I always tell everybody this, like I don't think people understand. Like it means a lot when people hop on the podcast and do these interviews, man. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to come on and
For sure.
tell your story, man. Get some game. I appreciate it a lot, man. So that's a wrap, man. The interview with Larry Legend, man, homie.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on here. For sure.
Yeah, man. That's a wrap. Make sure you guys show my guy some love, man. Follow him on Instagram. It's right there on the screen. For those that's listening, it's _Larry_Legend_. So yes, that is 3 underscores, people. Beginning, ending, in the middle are all underscores. Okay, so _Larry_legend_ at Instagram. Also make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Show some love to us. Put a lot of work into it. And follow me in social media. Pretty much anything that's BeBall Jones. That's anywhere on social media. But it ain't about me. It's about my guy Larry. Show him some love. DM him. Go in the comments some of his stuff, man, and be like, "Yo, appreciate you hopping on the podcast. I learned a lot from you. The gems you dropped, the game you gave. Appreciate that, man. So show him some love. He should have a lot more followers and a lot of that by the time this episode drops, man. So that's about it, man. Thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week for another episode, and that's pretty much it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.